What's going on? Welcome back to Big Country Woodworking and Home Repair. This week, as you can see, I got a lot in store for you. For this video, we're going to go over the top 10 beginner woodworking tools that I think every beginner woodworker should buy, as well as some honorable mentions. So let's jump right into it. Now, before we jump into the list, first and foremost, we got to start out with the most important thing, and that's PPE, and that goes without saying. You need to protect your eyes, your ears, and your lungs from all the harmful things you do, whether it be dust, VOCs, as loud as these power tools can be. You need to protect something, and you need to protect your eyes. Now, you don't need to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on PPE, but as you know, the little bit more money you spend, the higher quality. You can start off with just the simple earplugs, the foam earplugs, that you get a whole bag for a couple bucks, all the way up to your ISO tunes, which these are over the ears, Bluetooth, they can play music, you can listen to everything for hearing protection. Eyewear, right now I'm wearing the John Malecki Shop Shades. I absolutely love these things. I've had them for quite some time, and they're like brand new. No scratching, but they are a little bit on the pricey side. You could definitely go into your big box stores and get your cheaper safety glasses, but you really want to invest in your eyes. And secondly, you need your respirators. I use this for when I'm staining or anything with harmful VOCs that can really attack your lungs. And then for when I'm just typically using anything with larger particulates, dust, sawdust, anything, I have this RZ dust mask. And that goes right over your face. Comes with replacement cartridges in the inside, but helps you when you're using a table saw, sanding, miter saw, anything with time you're cutting wood and you got that fine dust particulates, this is gonna help. And this is gonna help with even finer VOCs and stuff like that. All right, starting off the list, number one, I always recommend getting yourself a circular saw. Whether it be corded or battery operated. My very first one was a rigid corded one. I happen to like rigid tools, a little heavy, but they work. Start off by getting yourself a circular saw. That way you can start cutting wood before you even have to get a miter saw. This can do all the same cuts that can do, teamed up with a square. And from there, you can move up a circular saw, a track saw, all the way up to a large cabinet saw. So I started with just this circular saw, and then I moved to a Craig. It's like a track system that attaches to your circular saw. And then from there, once I got a little money, got a little bit more experience, I moved, as you can see, to the rigid track saw. This definitely helps. Makes it easier for cutting down sheet goods. My shop's in a basement, so it's a lot easier to bring this upstairs, cut down my sheet goods into larger mandrel pieces, then I can use it on the table saw. But like I said, start with what you can afford and then slowly move up. That's going to be like the theme of this video. Start small, then build. On to the next one. Once you move on from your circular saw, number two is getting yourself a drill and driver set. As you can see here, I have many drill and driver sets. I have DeWalt drill and driver. I have a rigid, again. I do have some 12 volt, which I love the Makita 12 volt system. Again here, as well as some specialty drill and drivers. This is the Makita, they call it an install drill, has multiple tips you can add here. And then your regular Metabo Impact. Now, when choosing your drill and driver set, I always recommend, clearly you'll see this along the way, kind of try to choose a battery platform that you want to stick with. You can always upgrade after time. You'll see most of my tools are rigid because it's pretty much the middle of the road, not expensive and not super cheap. But you want something that's going to be able to drive nails, drill holes, something that has maybe a hammer feature. So again, get yourself a nice drill and driver set and that's number 2. Number 3 on my list kind of go hands in hands with the circular saw, but you want to try eventually to get yourself, and I have it here, a kind of a job site table saw to make it real easy or easier to rip material, whether you're 2x4s. It's really hard to keep a straight line along a 2x4, along a sheet of plywood with a circular saw. And this just makes it easier by leaps and bounds. Now they have this one's a corded one. They do have battery operated ones, and they're not overly expensive. So if you can pick yourself up one brand new, that'd be nice, or even go on to some sort of marketplace and pick her up one secondhand. They're indispensable, and nowadays there are so many companies that make accessories to make your job site table saw even better. I know Bo has a whole job site table saw system that comes with feather boards and a large fence that you can add to this to make it a better, safer saw. So again, number 3, get yourself a job site table saw. My first honorable mention, you definitely want to get yourself a decent chisel set. Definitely don't, this is one of those things where if you can afford a better set, definitely go and get those because I started out with some like hand-me-down contractor type chisels. The thing about those is they're not made of a quality metal. They don't hold a sharpen very well. They go dull very well. They tend to chip and break. Also, when you tend to buy the contractor grade chisels, they don't come as sharp as they probably should be, so you're going to be doing a lot of work. You're going to be doing a lot of sharpening. Like I said, I started out with just kind of hand-me-down chisels that I didn't really know about, and you'll see they definitely need some work. There's definitely chunks and chips out of them. I just recently was sent by Woodcraft a decent chisel set. So like I said, this comes anywhere from a 1/4 inch all the way to 1 inch. Comes in a nice box, kept away. And they're definitely, right out of the box, they were 1,000 times better than right out of the packaging of these contractor ones. So like I said, honorable mention number 1, get yourself a decent, not top of the line because you can spend a lot of money on chisels, but a decent woodworking chisel set. That way you can clean things up nice and easy. Again, honorable mention number 1, decent chisel set. Moving on to number 4, and it's arguably the most boring, most time-consuming thing you're going to do as a woodworker, and that's sanding. I started off with just sanding blocks, which I have in my chest that I didn't bring out. Started off with sanding blocks and sandpaper. Took forever. Again, the theme of this is start small and work your way up, and this is the biggest thing. So like I said, I started with sanding blocks, and then for some strange reason, I decided to go with a plate sander. It doesn't have any kind of random orbiting features, not even variable speed. But this sped up, sped up my sanding by leaps and bounds. Granted, I had to do a little bit extra sweep just to get rid of the lines, but again, this sped up my sanding. From there, again, I moved on to something that would help me a little bit better. And again, it's a rigid, random orbital sander. It's a 3-inch or so, battery operated, so I could take it anywhere instead of the corded one. Again, random oscillating, so it doesn't really release hormones, and it's variable speed, and I can hook it up to dust collection. From there, I decided, let me go something nicer. That's when I went with the Festool ETS EC 125. Now, again, this is a little bit more compact, much lighter weight. It is corded, it is variable speed, but it's a lot lighter than the rigid is, a lot more compact. Ergonomics are wonderful on this thing. Dust collection is far superior than the rigid, but you're going to pay a pretty penny for this. But it is an amazing sander. Helps speed up time, and that's the main game. If you're woodworking, you want to be able to increase production and have less time, doing the boring stuff. So like I said, Start small, finish big. I started with just a block sander, and now I currently use the Fest tool. All right, for my next tool on my list, number 5, you've all seen the YouTube videos. Everybody's got that sweet bandsaw in the background that they can use to cut out odd shapes. Again, we're starting small, and then we're going to work up to the bandsaw. I don't even have a bandsaw. I started out with this Black, you can see it still has dust, all spiderwebs all over. I do not use this Black & Decker jigsaw. At the time, this was a great investment. I could cut weird designs into my wood products. Again, corded, so you're pretty limited on where you can go. This one, not a lot of power. Again, you'll see I stuck to a battery platform. From there, I upgraded to the rigid jigsaw. This is great. It's a little heavy, like I said, most rigid stuff's a little on the heavy side, but battery powered, a lot more power, and this is variable speed where that's just one speed. And you can use this just like a bandsaw. Made it super easy to make bevel cuts. You can hook up dust collection to this, though it doesn't really work all that well. Depth of cut, open that. Now I know Rigid just came out with a nice barrel handle jigsaw that I might want to check out, but this gets the job done. On to the next one. 6 on my list. It's not a tool that you necessarily need, but is a huge convenient, whether you want to put different, like a dado or different designs like in a finishing piece, or you need to flush cut something nice, really, and that's a router. I started out with this small trim router, palm router, rigid, battery operated. This is great. I use it to flush cut pieces. I use it to throw chamfers, roundovers on small stuff, on drawers. And this has served me very well. Like I said, we're going to be starting small, moving up. Now from here, when I want to do larger, maybe dados and stuff that, or larger pieces that I do to throw a chamfer in, or use a larger bit, because this is only allows a 1/4 inch collet, so you're using smaller drill bits, or router bits I should say. You want to move up to one of the big boys. This is a Bosch plunge router. It accepts 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch bits, so you're going to be able to use larger router bits on this. I have this one that I normally use for out in the shop. I do have the same exact one in a router table. And like I said, starting small. Once you're able to have one of these out and about, I do recommend getting yourself a router table. I did buy the Bosch router table that kind of goes with hand in hand with this router. But again, it's not something you desperately need, but it is a huge convenience to have, especially when you need to flush trim something or throw a nice chamfer or round over bit on something. So like I said, number 6 is going to be get yourself a router. All right, and number 7 on my list, arguably one of the most important things in woodworking, is how you're going to measure things. So the number 7 is get yourself a tape measure. These are the Lefty Righty by FastCap. I have a ton of these. What's great about these is it does have the locking feature that you can press down. It has the measurements on both sides, and for beginner woodworkers, if you really don't need your fractions and you don't want to go, okay, that was 2 inches and 1, 2, 3 lines, or 2 inches in a one big line, this has the measurements on both sides of the measuring tape. And big thing is, especially when you're working in the wood shop, try to get the same tape measures, because not all tape measures measure the same. And especially you want to use the same tape measure for the entire project. I have a bunch of these Lefty Righties fast caps just because they're super handy, super light. When I'm working maybe as a general contractor, as a contractor, I do have larger 30-foot tape measures, but again, they're all either the same brand. They're the Come Along from, I think I got these at Lowe's. I forget where, but I tend to stick in my shop. It's all the fast cap lefty righties, and they're 16 footers. You certainly, I don't even think you need a 16 footer in a small shop, maybe 12 or 8 footers, depending on what you're doing. But again, get yourself a tape measure and get multiple of the same, because you're always going to lose them. They seem to disappear, and you'll have a bunch. So, like I said, number 7, tape measure. All right, and for my next tool is a speed square or square or something. Everybody has seen these Swanson squares. These are indispensable. This is the metal one. They come in plastic. They're either orange or metal. Along with this, along with your circular saw, you can make all your different angled cuts. Not only is this good for carpenters, but it's also good for making square cuts on boards, angle cuts on if you're building any kind of furniture with the feet. They all have, it has the angles here. It also has a measuring tape here as well. And when you get this, they usually come with like a little book that tells you all the different features with your hip and valley angles, your degrees of cuts, what this little diamond piece means, your pivot points, stuff like that. Now, once you've had this for a while and you decide I want to upgrade to more of a woodworking shop tool, that's when you start getting into more of the mechanical squares. Now, I have currently a 6-inch, 8-inch, and a 12-inch. These are going to be square up to like the 1,000th of an inch. These are, again, both of these, this being a Jessam, this being a Woodpecker, both have areas to scribe lines in the measurements. They both have ways to hang on to your boards when you're measuring so you get an accurate cut. But again, much more expensive than the simple Swanson square. So once you've got your company a little established or your woodworking a little bit more established, starting making a little bit more money, you can upgrade from these to the squares. Now, do you need a 6, an 8, a 12-inch? No. You can certainly get away with the 6-inch or 12-inch. They do make even bigger than that, but from there, like I said, get what you can afford. If you can only afford the Swanson square, that's perfectly fine. Stick with that until you can afford more. All right, like I said, number 8, speed square. Okay, and for my next honorable mention, and probably my most controversial, especially in the woodworking world, it's going to be some sort of pocket hole jig. I know pocket hole jigs are frowned upon in the woodworking community. You either love them or hate them, or love to hate them. Whichever you choose, they make joining 2 pieces of wood super simple, super easy, and super fast. If you're not able to cut any kind of dovetails or dados or anything, this is your go-to. Just glue and screw. And I happen to use Craig on occasion, and the way they've gone from this K4 system where you have to adjust this collet to the thickness of your wood and adjust this up and down to this 720 Pro where the base automatically adjusts to the thickness of your wood is fantastic. It has better dust collection nowadays, so you're cleaning up less of a mess. But again, pocket holes make joining wood super, super easy and super, super fast so you guys can make money. So again, honorable mention, pocket hole jigs. All right, guys, we're almost done here. Number 9, and these are, people say a woodworker can never have enough of these, and they are clamps. Now, getting started, all the clamps I bought were from Harbor Freight, and they were the F-style clamps. They're great. I still have a ton of them today. And again, this is one of those things where you can start at Harbor Freight, get those cheaper clamps, and then work your way up. Some of the clamps I recommend are like the F-style clamps, a speed clamp, so you can easily, with one hand, hold and clamp at the same time. Again, all the same thing. And then you get your more expensive cabinet clamps or parallel clamps or whatever you want to call them. They do make They do have bar clamps. I don't have any right now just because I haven't decided to go and make them. But like I said, you can definitely start with the Harbor Freight F-style clamps. Harbor Freight does have parallel clamps as well as speed clamps. Like I said, start with what you can afford. The Jorgensens, the Bessies, the jet clamps are definitely going to be significantly more expensive clamp to buy. But like I said, with price, you're going to get a better quality. You're going to get a square. These are going to apply a more even pressure on your project than maybe a cheaper one. They won't bend. They're made of a higher quality plastic or metal. So just know what you're getting into when you buy a cheaper style, even clamp or tools. All right, so let's move on to the next one. All right, and number 10, last but not least, you need to get yourself a decent mallet. I started out with this random claw hammer, but it's a flat face, so it was really non-marring. Most contractor hammers have some sort of waffle that'll put a weird design in your woodworking, so you don't want to use this. Even this is still a little too jarring, a little too metal. From there, I moved on to just a regular mallet. Has a non-marking side as well as a marking side. It's a little less abrasive than a iron or a metal hammer. This is what I use for my woodwork. This has glue and stuff all over it. Again, get what you can afford. You can easily make yourself a Woodworker's mallet or buy one from Rockler or Woodcraft, wherever. But this is what I stick with. You want to get yourself a decent mallet for, leveling out joints, something that's not going to damage your projects or leave any kind of weird marks. So again, get yourself a mallet. Certainly you can definitely afford one of these. This is from one of the big box stores, as you can tell. But again, get yourself a mallet. All right, folks, and there's the list. My top 10 tools for beginner woodworkers, as well as some honorable mentions. What'd you guys think? Did I miss some things? I definitely missed some things. So leave it in the comments if you think you can come up with a better list. Also, good news, I have become an Amazon affiliate, so anything that I can find on Amazon that I've shown here today, I will put down below with a link. In all transparency, if you click that link, you buy it, I do get a little bit of a kickback. Whether it be 3%, 10%, who knows? But it does help support the channel. It does help make the channel grow and me be able to bring you more content. So like I said, if you enjoyed the video, please like. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, 96% of you who watch this video are not subscribed, which I'm not surprised. But again, please subscribe and comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.